He hid a secret baby. She walked away, showing love and strength through her empire. The discovery of betrayal. The rain tapped gently against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse as Liana Omar stood in her home office, staring at the documents spread across her mahogany desk. Her heart pounded as she read the private investigator's report for the third time. Karim Farouk, her husband of 7 years, had a 3-year-old daughter named Nadia with his former executive assistant, Rosha Medani. Liana's hands trembled slightly, but her face remained composed. She had built herself from nothing into one of the most influential businesswomen in the region. She would not crumble now. When Karim arrived home that evening, loosening his silk tie, he found Liana sitting in the living room, the report on the coffee table between them. His face drained of color. "Liana, I can explain," he began, stepping forward. She raised her hand, her voice steady but cold. "Don't. I've read everything. The child support payments you hid in offshore accounts. The apartment you bought for them. The weekend trips you called business conferences." Karim sank onto the opposite sofa, his confident demeanor shattered. "It was a mistake. It meant nothing. You're the one I love." Liana stood gracefully, her emerald dress flowing around her. "Love isn't something you claim with words while betraying someone with actions. I deserved honesty, Karim. Our marriage deserved respect." "Where are you going?" Panic edged his voice as she walked toward the bedroom. "Somewhere you taught me I can only truly rely on myself," she replied without looking back. Within an hour, Liana had packed a single suitcase with essentials. She descended the marble staircase one last time, her heels clicking with purpose. Karim stood at the bottom, desperation in his eyes. "Please, Liana. We can work through this. Counseling, anything." She paused, meeting his gaze with quiet strength. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt on the same foundation. "Goodbye, Karim." As her driver opened the car door, Liana slid inside without a backward glance. The penthouse lights grew distant, and with them, the life she had known. But she felt no weakness, only the fierce determination that had always defined her. Reclaiming power. The boardroom of Omar Global Investments gleamed with polished steel and glass on the 42nd floor. Shareholders and executives filed in for the emergency meeting Liana had called, murmuring speculation. Karim entered last, surprised to see his wife, his estranged wife, seated at the head of the table in a sharp burgundy suit. "Good morning, everyone," Liana began, her voice commanding immediate attention. "I've called this meeting to clarify the ownership structure of this company." Karim's face tightened. "Liana, what are you doing?" She smiled coolly, sliding folders across the table. "Revealing the truth. When we founded Omar Global Investments 9 years ago, I provided 85% of the initial capital from my family's estate and my previous ventures. Over the years, through strategic acquisitions I personally negotiated, my stake has grown to 92%. Gasps rippled through the room. Karim had always presented himself as the primary owner, the visionary behind the empire. "That's impossible," Karim protested, though his voice lacked conviction. "It's documented," Liana replied, nodding to her attorney, Marcus Hale, who distributed legal documents. "Every transaction, every share purchase. I allowed you to lead publicly because I believed in partnership. But partnerships require honesty." Director Amora Toleb, a longtime board member, studied the documents. "This is legitimate. Mrs. Omar, or should I say, MS Omar, holds controlling interest." Liana stood, walking to the windows overlooking the city she had conquered. "Effective immediately, I'm assuming my rightful position as chairwoman and CEO. Karim will transition to senior advisor, if he chooses to remain." Karim's jaw clenched. "You're humiliating me." She turned, her expression softening slightly. "I'm reclaiming what's mine. There's a difference." Later, as the boardroom emptied, Karim approached her. "I underestimated you." "You underestimated yourself," Liana replied quietly. "You had a partner who would have built empires with you. Instead, you chose deception." For a moment, something flickered in Karim's eyes, recognition, perhaps, of what he'd truly lost. But Liana had already returned to her papers, her focus absolute. That evening, in her new corner office, Liana gazed at the city lights. She had reclaimed her power not through anger, but through the truth she'd always possessed. And it felt like finally breathing freely. Confrontations and regret. 3 months passed like a carefully orchestrated dance. Liana transformed Omar Global Investments with decisive brilliance, launching sustainable technology initiatives that captured international attention. Karim remained as senior advisor, watching from the sidelines as the woman he'd taken for granted revealed depths of genius he'd never fully appreciated. During a presentation to potential investors from Singapore, Liana commanded the room with effortless authority. She spoke 3 languages fluently, switching seamlessly as she addressed different stakeholders. Karim sat in the back, remembering how he used to dismiss her insights in favor of his own instincts. "Your wife is extraordinary," whispered David Chen, one of the investors, to Karim during a break. "Ex-wife," Karim corrected quietly. "Soon to be official." After the meeting, Karim caught Liana in the hallway. "You were brilliant today." "Thank you," she replied professionally, reviewing documents on her tablet. "Liana, can we talk? Really talk?" She looked up, her dark eyes unreadable. "We talk regularly about quarterly projections and market strategies. What else is there?" "About us. About what I destroyed." She sighed, leading him into an empty conference room. "Karim, what do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we can pretend none of it happened?" "I want you to know I see you now," he said intensely, moving closer. "Truly see you. The strength, the vision, the grace you've shown through all of this. I was a fool." Liana's composure cracked slightly. "You were more than a fool. You made me question my own worth, my own judgment. Do you know how that feels? To discover the person you loved most was living a double life." "I'm sorry. God, Liana, I'm so sorry." She held up her hand. "Apologies are words, Karim. I've built my life on actions. Show me through what you do, not what you say." Over the following weeks, Karim began to change. He volunteered for Liana's foundation supporting women entrepreneurs, actually doing the work rather than just appearing for photo opportunities. He publicly credited her brilliance in interviews, correcting journalists who attributed the company's success primarily to him. One evening, working late, Liana found a folder on her desk. Inside were signed documents transferring Karim's remaining 8% of shares into a trust for underprivileged children's education, in her name to manage. "What is this?" she asked, finding him in his office. "Proof," he said simply, "that I'm learning, rebuilding trust." Winter brought a gentler rhythm to their interactions. Liana noticed small changes in Karim, the way he listened more carefully in meetings, the respect he showed her decisions without ego, the distance he maintained from female colleagues to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. One snowy December evening, Liana's foundation held a gala for young women receiving business scholarships. Karim attended without being asked, working behind the scenes to ensure everything ran smoothly. Liana watched him help set up chairs, speaking kindly to the staff, showing genuine interest in the scholarship recipients' dreams. "He's changed," her best friend, Nora Salem, observed. "I never thought I'd say this, but he actually seems sincere." Liana sipped her champagne thoughtfully. People can change. The question is whether the change is deep enough to matter. During the gala, one of the scholarship recipients, a bright 18-year-old named Dina, gave a speech. "Miss, Omar showed me that betrayal doesn't define us, how we rise from it does. She taught me that our power comes from within, not from anyone's approval." Tears pricked Liana's eyes. Across the room, Karim watched her with something that looked like reverence. Later, as guests departed, Karim approached her on the balcony overlooking the snowy city. "Thank you for letting me be part of this." "You earned your place here," Liana admitted. "The Karim I married would have sent a check and called it charity. But you actually care now." "I care about everything you care about," he said softly. "Because I finally understand that's what love is. Not possession, not control, but genuine support and respect." Liana turned to him, vulnerable for the first time in months. I'm scared, Karim. Scared that if I let you back in, you'll destroy me again. He reached out, stopping just before touching her hand. I can't promise perfection. But I can promise transparency, respect, and dedication to being worthy of you every single day. Not because I want to reclaim you, but because you deserve nothing less. The snow fell softly around them as Liana considered his words. This isn't a quick fix. If there's even a possibility, it would take time. Real time. I'll take whatever you're willing to give, Karim replied. Even if it's just the chance to prove I've learned who you really are. For the first time since the betrayal, Liana felt a flutter of hope. Love reborn. Spring arrived with cherry blossoms and new beginnings. Liana and Karim had spent the past 4 months in careful courtship. Coffee meetings that focused on genuine conversation, walks where they discussed dreams rather than business, therapy sessions where they confronted painful truths together. I never asked you about your childhood, Karim admitted during one walk through the botanical gardens. I knew surface facts, but I never asked what shaped you. Liana smiled softly, linking her arm through his tentatively. I never shared because I didn't think you wanted to know. We were both guilty of creating a marriage of convenience rather than depth. Their therapist, Dr. Hélène Baptiste, had helped them understand that their relationship had been built on attraction and ambition rather than true intimacy. Rebuilding required vulnerability both had avoided. One May evening, Karim invited Liana to the penthouse, her former home. She entered cautiously, noticing immediate changes. The cold modern decor had been softened with warmth. Photos of her achievements lined the walls. Fresh flowers filled every room. I had it redesigned, Karim explained. Not to erase the past, but to create space for a different future. If you'll have it. Have me. Liana walked through the rooms, touching the thoughtful details. In the master bedroom, she found a framed letter on the nightstand. Picking it up, she read Karim's handwritten words. Liana, you are not my possession but my partner. Not my trophy but my equal. Not my second chance but my greatest teacher. I love you not for what you can give me, but for who you are when no one is watching. You are strength, grace, and brilliance incarnate. I will spend my life being worthy of your trust. Tears streamed down her face as Karim entered. I mean every word. I know you do, she whispered. He approached slowly, cupping her face gently. May I? She nodded, and their kiss was tender, filled not with desperate passion but with deep respect and genuine connection. It was a first kiss more than a reconciliation, a beginning rather than a return. They made love that night with a vulnerability neither had shown before, speaking softly, asking permission, cherishing rather than claiming. It was intimate in ways their previous physical relationship had never been. Afterwards, wrapped in each other's arms, Liana spoke. We're not going back to what we were. We're building something new. Something better, Karim agreed, kissing her forehead. Based on the lessons we both learned. Their wedding renewal 6 months later was small, just close friends and family. Liana wore emerald green, her power color. The vows they wrote themselves spoke of equality, transparency, and love built on respect rather than convenience. As they danced under the stars, Liana realized that true love wasn't about perfection. It was about two people choosing each other every day, building something worthy through actions, not just words. Omar Global Investments continued to thrive under their shared but equal leadership. And more importantly, so did they. Lessons from the heart. True love respects your power rather than fears it. Cherish those who celebrate your strength instead of feeling threatened by your light. Betrayal reveals character, but how we rise from pain defines our destiny. Your worth is not determined by another's actions but by your own integrity. Forgiveness is not weakness when earned through genuine change, but never accept apologies built on words when actions tell a different story. The greatest romance is built on equality, transparency, and daily choices to honor each other. Love without respect is merely possession, while love with respect becomes partnership.